Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of Fandom of 1. I am, as usual, Martin Leon, and I'm really glad that you're here. Um, Today I have Anton on, just Anton, or Anton Chingona, if you want to follow her on Instagram, because she's humble like that. I met her just this year. Actually, she's a student of another friend of mine, and she started doing stand-up comedy, and I was there for her first English comedy show, for which I helped her also write a little bit. So she's kind of my goddaughter of a stand-up comedy in English. She's super fun, super funny to talk to. You're gonna see, and she's also starting a project which you're gonna hear more in a little bit. But the project is basically a tournament for up and coming, like basically Mexican comedians who have been doing stand up for less than a year. And it's all online. And I was invited on the show as a judge. And so I recorded this interview a while ago with the plan of recording it and letting you know about this before the show ended, which it ends this Thursday, July. Is it 16th? Yeah, 16th. Thursday, July 16th. But if you want to see the episodes, there in the Facebook, Por la Moral's Facebook, Por la Moral being a club, a comedy club in Puebla. Puebla being a city in Mexico, if you're listening from somewhere where you are not aware where Puebla is. Anyway, so yeah, bad Martin, because like on the podcast, you can hear me say that this was going to come out on the 27th of June, and it's actually not. It didn't. It didn't, because I'm a horrible person and I procrastinate, and I'm sorry, people. But on that note, how have you been? I have been, and I hope that you've been doing well. I told you that I have a new job, and it's had its ups and downs. Social media has this thing, I think I mentioned this already, where, you have to constantly, bring out content and, like, see what's happening, bring more, and let's just say that June wasn't a great month for my social media. And while I shouldn't just take all responsibility, I have to admit some of it was mine, and oh my god. It's tough, people. But I'm still in therapy. I'm still working to be more consistent with these podcasts. There was supposed to be an Adriana Chavez podcast between the last Fandom of 1 and this one that is yet to be edited, but I also recorded the next episode of that podcast. So now I'm kind of like, which one will come out first? So if you're on Patreon, and it's kind of weird that I'm going, oh, if you're on my Patreon, but like, first of all, if you're on my socials being Twitter and Instagram, Mint Onaro, which is my name with all the letter mixed up, or on my Facebook, I have both Martin Leon Stand-Up and Mint Onaro. You can see the new podcast going out. I also have a show that comes out weekly with James Mendez called La Semanal, which you can follow on Instagram and La Period Semanal, or you can follow on Twitter and Facebook at La Semanal Show. You can follow us on YouTube. That's going to be on the show notes. There's that. And there's also Fantastic, my fanfic Spanish podcast. But if you follow me on Patreon, I am working on some stuff for y'all, and also on Saturdays I'm doing a Spanish stand-up comedy workshop. And if you're interested in me doing that in English, which is kind of like, when I mean workshop, it's more like people come in, like, try their comedy, and then like people at the workshop, like, we workshop together the comedy. So if you're interested in doing that, please do let me know through my socials or through my email, which is martinleonstandup@gmail.com. So yeah, I'm going to leave you with the interview I did with Anton right now. It's longish. It's like 40 minutes long, which, I mean, I'm trying to do 30 minutes, but like, there's so much to talk about with my friends because they're so interesting. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoy this episode, and I'll see you after the interview. See you. Oh, well, you'll listen to me and my voice after the interview again. So, remember, it's in English.
Switch to English.
Yes, switch. Like, so you go into settings, you change language.
Language, yeah.
So anyway, hi, Anton.
Hello, Martin. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, even though we are so far away. Where in Mexico City you live?
I live in Azcapotzalco, near Tacuba.
Okay. You live near Tacuba?
Huh?
You live near Tacuba?
Yes.
Like the subway station Tacuba?
Yes, like the
because
subway
I live
station.
near there too.
Really?
Do you know the Teatro Legaria?
Yes.
I live like behind Teatro Legaria.
Oh, wow.
Are we neighbors?
I live more near like Claveria.
Yeah.
So in the other side.
Yeah. But still, we're not that far away.
No, we're almost neighbors. That's great.
Yeah. Let's cut this. Let's just meet. No.
Yeah.
I was first of all, could you please introduce yourself to the 5 listeners of my podcast?
Hello, wide audience. Well, I'm Anton. I'm a psychologist in the day, and during the night, a comedian, started comedian. I'm from Mexico City. I am 32 years old, and I started doing stand-up comedy in English around February 2020. So as you can imagine, I don't have a lot of experience in scenarios.
Yeah, it's not like we have like so many stages here on Mexico to do comedy in English.
Yeah, but I think one of the main opportunities that I have had during the quarantine is to do some shows online. So that gives me kind of an experience. At least I can try my jokes.
All right, you did it with Pinche Gringo, right?
Yes.
Ah, nice. I will put the stuff for people to follow Pinche Gringo here in the show notes. So you have been doing stand-up in English for like February is it 25 years ago that February?
Kind of, yeah. Like I think like 5,048.
Exactly, like it's like Jurassic Park. No, like so. Yes. And when did you start doing stand-up comedy in Spanish?
In November. I graduated from a course with Caro Campos, which is a Mexican comedian. In November, I took the course just because I wanted to have more tools to public speaking, because as a teacher, because I work as a teacher nowadays, you always have like a lot of opportunities to have an audience. But when you're with adults or in a professional environment, for me, it was kind of difficult. Like to not get nervous, to get other tools for expression. So I tried stand-up comedy just to see what could happen. And what happened is that I fell in love with stand-up comedy, and then I started doing it every time I can. And now, well, I'm producing shows because I love the comedians so much that I want to see them every week.
Yeah, it's pretty addictive when you like it, and when you're good. Also, it bears to say that you're good. So like you have more of a reason to go on stage. Although some people that are bad are not at all, deterred by that fact.
Yeah.
So the reason why I wanted you to be in my podcast, like it's my podcast and I want my friends to be in it. So I don't know if you consider me a friend, but I consider you a friend. So
yes, I totally consider you a friend. Not only my friend, but my godfather. So that's beyond friendship.
I have a godchild now.
Yes. Not with that we are Catholics, but
no. But like it's cute. It's like it's a closer relationship that just like, yes, I met this woman and I suppose she's doing stand-up now.
Yeah.
But like but like I wanted to talk to you because you've been doing stand-up like for a very little while, but like you started, like you say, November, February in English.
And also because like we're going to talk about one of your projects in a little bit.
Yes.
So like, first of all, you say you wanted to do like, and that's very common. Like people say like, well, you know, I want to be better at public speaking, being funny might help me. But how did you start? Like what was the trip between I want to do this and finding a class, and why did you choose Caro Campos?
Well, I chose Caro Campos because I was following her, I think like from 6 years ago, because that was the first show I saw from stand-up comedy in Black Horse Bar. I was walking around Condesa and I saw the announcement that stand-up show tonight. So I went and I did, well, of course, I have had some approach to stand up in English and I had my comedians, but seeing it on stage and get this approach of people apparently improvising and making you laugh, I really liked it. And I remember being that night because it was Caro Campos, Quique Vasquez, and a French comedian that was around Mexico City back then.
Yeah, oh my God, I
Ruiseñol, Alexis Ruiseñol, something like that.
Yeah, Alexis. Yeah.
No, they were awesome that night. So I was thinking like that could be something that I could do, because when you see it, you think I have a ton of stories that are funny. I make people laugh. So maybe one day I could try it. And then when I did it and saw that it was really, like study again, like having like a diploma and grabbing so many tools about writing and improvising and also being connected with people, I got more interested because it was kind of a challenge, especially because when you start doing it, and also if you take a course with other people, you can see different kind of talents and different kind of topics which people want to portray in reality, no? Like to share with the audience.
Yeah.
I started finding that, like, what do I want to share?
And how was that for you? Like when you actually started thinking, what am I going to write? What was the answer then? What did you want to share?
At the beginning, I wanted to speak about deep Mexican culture, like all the phrases that we have that are ridiculous, and like some of them are like very deep philosophical problems. There are some expressions that I don't get, and I started there, but then I started thinking about my own personal fights and stories, and started searching for other comedians that were sharing those stories. And also, but the first time that I got in a stage, it was like really addictive. Like that connected me with my childhood. When you're a child and you're making everyone laugh and doing silly stuff, that connected me with that emotion. And it was like, I immediately fell in love with that emotion. Of course, at the beginning, I was really nervous and I didn't want to do it. But when you start getting laughs, it is something amazing, because you feel that you can start also healing some things that you use as comedy tools.
Yeah. No, and it's funny you mention that, because you are the first person to mention that childhood feeling to me. Because I was never really like a class clown, but I did use like humor with like grown-ups, like, you know, like, and it's always fun to get laughs, you know, no matter how old you are. And it's also a lot of fun once you're on stage and once you're getting a laugh. Because for me, like going on stage, getting my first laugh, it's like I'm home. Like I never want to leave. You have to leave. You can't, you know, people have to go back home. But you're the first person to mention it, like make this connection, which for me has always like been there, without it being oh yeah, like I was like the funniest person in my class. No, like I was a fucking weirdo. Like none of my and like nobody got my humor, but grown-ups were like, well, you know, that's kind of funny.
Yes, and also because you have a sense of humor that sometimes I don't know if I should laugh about it. Like, you have some jokes that I'm like, that's so funny, but
Was that a joke or a confession?
yes.
Is this a show or like an intervention? I'm not sure.
Yes. Would I look mean if I laugh about this story that Martin is sharing? Yes, and also, I don't know, like for me, exploring that, because one thing that I discovered is that one thing is to be around people and making jokes in the moment with the topics that the people bring to the table. And other completely different thing is to think about and observe around you and make jokes about it.
Yes.
Like you can we were talking about that during the week. Like it's very easy to fall on the meme joke or the joke that everyone is doing, because we are not used to observe our surroundings and also our feelings, and to connect those two things with the public opinion is something that you need a lot of tools to achieve.
Yeah, and like you say, because in the end, look, as a comedian, your talent is to make jokes. In fact, a phrase my ex-boyfriend said a lot, which I've taken to heart. It's like, people think that the job of a comedian is to be funny, but rather in order to be a comedian, that's the least you have to be. Like now, like your talent is being funny. Now you have to be funny, like in a conversation or in a screenplay or on stage or whatever. And what you say right now, it's super true, because like when you're talking to people, you might be like riffing off what they're saying and blah, blah, blah. But once you go on stage and it's just you, and it's just like, I have this idea that I thought it was funny, and the audience is like, don't quit your day job.
Yes. And at the beginning, like, well, it's not that I have a long career, but at the beginning, you want to take the laugh of people, whatever it costs, you know, like making a silly joke or saying someone else's joke. But now that I have had the chance to talk to other comedians, like more experienced comedians, and also to have like workshops with all other starter comedians, I started like thinking, well, how am I gonna use this voice that I have? And also, I don't want to talk about like the common things, you know, like I want to challenge myself to come up like maybe with dark jokes, or maybe talk about topics that I am always having an opinion and always sharing news about it, but do it in a funny way.
And for example, like, of course, right now, like we're only doing shows online. Are you having any shows online?
An issue with online shows?
No, like, are you doing the online show thing?
Yes, I am trying to do once a week, because I think it's a big opportunity to try jokes without the risk. Well, it depends, because it's without the risk of hearing people not laughing, like the silence. But it's also kind of weird to be talking to no one and not having any reaction.
No, it is super weird. Like, because I did a show with you for it was for the Day Against Homophobia, and it was to get funds for Cuenta Conmigo, which is an LGBT, and Gimel, which is also another Jewish LGBT non-for-profit. Mm-hmm. And we did have like an audience there, and they laughed, and it was like it was good. But like I have recorded some stuff, like just recorded and then sent it, and it's just like at the middle of it, I'm just, this is weird. This is like I should like get a neighbor or something to just like sit there, laugh at it.
Yes.
But like right now, like you're trying to do once a week. Is this like a show or like an open mic?
There are a lot of open mics happening in Instagram for beginners. So every time I see that someone is going live and they have an open mic, I try to
I'm there. Yeah. That's good. And so what are you writing about right now?
Well, I'm writing about two things. One is abortion and the stigma.
And a super easy topic. Like, you know, I love, you know, like that never causes, you know.
We always talk about it.
Exactly. It's super
There's
open.
no opinions around it. Yes, because that's the thing. Like I started go deeper on experiences, and we started talking about how this debate is still going on in some states in Mexico, and how it's always a stigma. Like worse than abortion is the person who does an abortion. So I'm gonna talk about that and how are a lot of things around that and that are worst that we don't see because there's no like this Catholic idea of life and stuff. And also, I am writing about how bad it would be. Well, I was thinking about my own students and how are they coping with the quarantine stuff and online lessons and being around their parents all day long. And I thought about myself and I was like, they are my superheroes, really. Like, I don't know, I would go nuts if it was my case. Like, back in the day when we had like a telephonic internet that you should use like just an hour a day because that interfered with the telephonic calls.
And then like all of a sudden your internet went off. It's like who's using the phone? Yes. I'm downloading a JPEG. It'll take a day.
Yes. I want this song to be ready for Monday, so I need to start downloading it now.
Exactly.
Yes, and also the whole experience, because when you're an adolescent, for some young kids, school is like a refugee where you see your friends, you talk about how bad it is to live with your parents and all your dreams, and like even though that you overreact about everything, you have your tribe to talk about those topics. But nowadays that they are not sharing with anyone.
I mean, I think they have an advantage that they have, like Snapchat. I don't know. They have TikTok. They have text. So like it's easier to stay connected with friends after a certain age. Like I do have like friends who have like really young children. And well, those children, like they're not going to be like, like it's rather that like their parents have to be like, oh my God, let's keep you entertained and look a toy and look another toy and like take care of her. I'm gonna so, but it is really interesting because I was thinking like if I had to like have gone into quarantine with my parents when I was a teenager, someone would have died, probably me. Or I would have just been like, you know what? I'm just gonna move into a tent in the yard. Like
yes, I'm gonna ask a neighbor to rent me
like a room. Garden. Yes, basically. Or we can just switch rooms with like the next door kid. Like you can get sick of him and then we'll come back. Are you staying with someone through quarantine?
Yes, I live with my boyfriend and with my 2 dogs and my 2 cats. So they keep me really busy.
Yeah, wow, 2 dogs and 2 cats. What what breed of dog? Are they big dogs?
It's Labrador. I don't know if it's the name in English, and the other is a Cocker Spaniel. So
those are like super high energy breeds.
Yes, 2 very different personalities because one is like always with you and he doesn't leave me like alone. I try to do some exercise in the garden. And he's always around like...
He's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Oh, do you need me to be here?
Yes.
You need me here in this point?
What happens if you do a squat and I put over you?
So you've been doing, you say you were producing a lot of shows, you're still producing some shows, and now you started this idea for which you invited me as a judge, which I am very grateful for because I love judging people. It is one of my top 10 activities to do. Top 3. But so you started this project called the Virgin Comedy Cup.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It is a great story because after we finished this show that we did for May, and for getting donations for Cuenta Conmigo and Gimel, I saw that we are in front of a big opportunity, which is get together people without problems of agenda, because obviously no one has like a lot of things to do nowadays.
What are you gonna do?
And also, like it's really easy to click and be there with a lot of people that you won't see around if we were like doing live shows. So I started talking with a couple of friends, which are also started comedians, and we started talking about how good it would be if it were contest or something for new comedians, because obviously, if you get together with comedians and talk to them, they start to be like your mentors, and you're like in a cozy place to do your comedy, and you start doing shows and opening shows and open mics and stuff. But there's a lot of people that maybe doesn't have the confidence, or maybe doesn't have the well-known comedian to have as a mentor, or maybe they are just starting, and it's a very difficult thing. Well, it was before the quarantine to get onto an open mic, for example. Like, there's a long list.
Well, it depends on the open mic. I mean, yes, you're talking about the walk open mic, which is the second time we mentioned here in this podcast as a difficult open mic to get into, and it is. But like, of course, there are other open mics. They're just not the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there are also other open mics in other places that are not comedy places, and it's also very hard to do it. Like, it's a bet of the businesses to open for stand-up comedy, but also the public is like, why are they interrupting my dinner? Like,
exactly.
What is these people that their jokes are not so good, and I'm not laughing, and then they are just interrupting here, like.
No, there is a thing that I when someone like calls me for like a show or something, like someone will be like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a dinner we want open mic like comedy there, and I'm like, when do you want the comedy? Because like we're not like a trio of like a strings quartet. We can't just be on the background while people eat. We're gonna be talking about we need people's attention. And they're like, oh yeah, we thought like in the middle of dinner you could just do your show. It's like, no. It's either before dinner or after dinner. Yes. Like, we don't otherwise in the middle of dinner, like, yeah, people want to talk to each other, and you're just like, hey, have I talked to you about my date last night? And everyone's like, we don't care.
Yes.
But
in the middle of their like.
Exactly. And when for open mic, sometimes like they'll call me and they're like, we want an open mic in this place, and a lot of times they're thinking, okay, you guys are gonna come in and we're gonna have like a whole bunch of people and a whole bunch of comedians. It'll be amazing, and you have to tell them like, well, it'll take a while for things to work out. A. Definitely. And B, it's an open mic. I am not in any way, shape, or form guaranteeing a good comedy show. Like, people have to understand, like, this is open mic. It might be bad. It might be good. We're trying our best.
Yes. And I have heard tons of stories about dark jokes during an open mic, like very cruel jokes, and people like getting offended because, yes, they are having dinner and they didn't expect a show, and they didn't pay to see these comedians. Maybe if you bring them like someone experienced or someone that is really famous, they will be pleased. But if we are trying our jokes, our material, and sometimes it's a very deep material, it's not like a very good starting point.
Exactly. So, but that was when we were allowed to go outside and do the shows. So, like so we do the Zoom show for Gimel and Cuenta Conmigo. You see this opportunity, and then what happens?
Then we started talking about doing it, like doing a call for young comedians, for starter comedians, only starter comedians, like not people that have more experience, for doing a contest. Like, it was a very, very simple idea. Like, let's bring some experienced comedians like Martin, like Caro, like people that are, how could you say, like training comedians, and that they are always willing to work. And I always say that they have this pedagogy from the comedy, like they have really good advices, and that they are guides, tutors for young comedians. And then we started talking about it, started like very quick, like that was very important. We are three started comedians. One is in Oaxaca, which is Juan Pablo, and the two girls, Lorena and I, are in Mexico City. So at first it was just an idea of what if you invite your Oaxacan comedians and fight against our friends, which are from Mexico City, and let's take it from there. But then we started like, I just spoke to Martin, I just spoke to Joss, I just spoke to other people that were also like imposing this idea. And now we have a great cup, the Virgin Comedy Cup. Yeah, it was not my idea. I would love to say that it was my idea, but it wasn't. Because we were talking about being virgins in the scenario and in the scene.
It is I have to say a great name because like whenever someone comes like in every open mic, that'll be that person who's like their first time at open mic, and they will say like we're popping your cherry, we're taking your virginity away. So that's a really good name. I like it. And it's also like a name that brings it like it makes you bet Virgin Comedy Cup.
Yes, I know. It gave us instantly a lot of branding, really. Yes, and also from there, like calling the comedians virgins, and like there has been a lot of jokes around that name.
You literally came up with a name like it's kind of like RuPaul's Drag Race, in which it's like so obvious, but like finally someone took it, and now everyone's gonna be like, why wasn't this my idea?
I know.
So how many people are participating in the Virgin Comedy Cup?
Well, now we are about to announce the 10 people that are gonna be part of the show, of the proper
season.
show. But we have been doing the contest from the last 2 weeks. We received 63 videos from around Mexico. And it was really cool to watch. Like there's people that has been doing stand-up comedy for a couple of months, people that was their first routine. So it was awesome to watch. Yes. Well, and now we have 20 contestants, and we're about to announce the 10 that are gonna participate each week. Yes. So each week
I know who are the 20 because I got to vote on them.
Yes. And what did you sound like?
I just put a whole bunch of no's. I'm like, oh, you suck. No, I'm kidding. No, like there were some jokes there that I was very impressed by. Like there were some very good concepts that I really liked. Of course, there were like, I mean, there wasn't. In some open mics, you'll have the person, like one person will come in and he will do 5 minutes, and you're like, you're going places, kid. I honestly didn't see one that was like, like blew me out of the water, but I saw some very good ones. And also I was really, really, really happy that you managed to get like 20 comedians 20 new comedians that were like, that had a level of quality to their jokes. And that you can tell that they have been seeing stand-up for long enough that they're like, okay, I can, because when we were starting, we had no idea. Like we saw a lot of stand-up in English, which is another beast altogether. So yeah, no, I was pleasantly surprised, I must say.
Yes, I'm really surprised about the scene that is in Mexico, because we received some videos from collectives from the northern part of Mexico, Aguascalientes, which is a state like kind of in the north, but in the middle, not the top north. Like they have 4 comedians now in the ultimate list, like not in the 10, but in the 20 that are still in the contest. And I was so amazed by those 4 comedians. Like they are doing something completely different. Also, Oaxaca is doing a very good quality comedy, and I'm very impressed by that. And also wanting to do a workshop with them. Like, can you please check my jokes, because I am really proud of what I have seen. Because
part of you was going like, I can just delete the video and keep the jokes.
Yes,
no one will know.
Totally.
No, but it is fantastic. But so your role is just producing. Like,
yes,
I suppose that's kind of a sad thing, that since you're producing, you can't participate on it.
Yes, and also we had like this temptation of doing, you know what, let's participate in the contest and see what happens. But the thing is that the whole experience has been around building a community of comedians. Like we are very taking care of how do we communicate people that is not in the contest anymore. We are trying to offer them other options for them to keep working on their material and also to get to know them. And try to organize other shows once we can in other states. So I think, even though I'm not going to be in the spotlight, or we are not going to be in the spotlight, we are getting a lot out of this situation, like organizing everything, being in touch with comedians that are like huge comedians, like yourself, like Caro, like other invited
Are you calling me fat?
judges that we're going to have. Yeah?
Are you calling me fat? No.
Well, after this quarantine, like everyone is getting fat. Everyone is getting fat.
Yeah, no, oh my god, like I just had some chicharrón in salsa verde, like that's not that's not that may be green, but it's not a diet food in any shape or form.
It has some green on it, so it counts like salad for me.
So okay, so let me see my dates, because this is probably gonna be coming out around June 27th.
The show? Oh, this
podcast. So when is the Virgin Comedy Cup happening?
Thursday 18 is the first transmission.
Okay, so and then like afterwards, and it's in Spanish. So like for listeners who want to practice their Spanish, like just go. They can follow Virgin Comedy Cup on Instagram and Facebook, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Okay, so just two more questions. Well, one more question and then another thing. My question is, as a comedian, because you're also a teacher, like the comedy is something you stumbled into, kind of. So like right now, what would be your ideal thing to happen comedy-wise for your career?
Well, I would love to keep producing, and also I think I'm gonna focus on doing this mentorship for new comedians and trying to provide some spaces from there, like just like focusing more on producing and connecting people that it's starting. And I really like what I do in my daytime. I really like to be around kids, and also because I work in the inclusion program, I really like to be creating opportunities for people in the school that I work. But obviously, this has changed my perception about life, about people, about what I can do, what am I capable of doing. And if it comes a big shot for me in comedy, I will totally take it. Like,
okay.
For me, my focus is now on producing and on making Virgin Comedy Cup really, really big, and maybe drop my career as a teacher.
Like I love you kids, but not that much. And finally, what has been keeping you sane through quarantine? Like, what are you watching? What are you reading? What's happening besides the shows?
I'm taking a lot of online courses.
Well, right, you put that on Facebook that you're like, am I the only one just buying online courses? You are.
Yes, like a crazy person. Really.
What courses are you taking?
I'm mainly focused on branding and Instagram marketing.
Okay.
These methodologies of creating, innovating, and in Creatica and in Domestica.
Okay.
But oh my God, they are so good! Like you cannot stop. They know their product obviously, but every time really I see a commercial, I'm like buying. No. I'm still not finishing the first that I got, and they are really cheap.
Oh really? How cheap? How cheap are they?
Like 200 pesos or less.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's super cheap. Mm-hmm. Because like a stand-up comedy course will take you back like 2,000 pesos. It's like,
yes.
Which is 200, yes, which is actually what, like $100. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to buy the comedy course, the Steve Martin comedy course in whatever that website is that I'm forgetting that it's now. Okay, so classes. Anything else? You
should be recording one, really, like for beginners. Maybe you could be the next Domestica big product. Really, I can see you there making jokes everywhere.
I suck at
What else? Well, obviously, I spend a lot of time doing the chores in the house. Like sweeping, mopping.
I just
and
yeah, we're talking. I just finished that, but I listen to podcasts while I'm doing it. I don't know you.
Yeah, I'm starting to listen to podcasts because there's a lot of people doing it, and also, well, because for me it's a new experience. Even though in secondary they were a huge thing, then they went down, and then they have this opportunity right now to record every week and to have a lot of new topics. I have found like really really interesting podcast regarding all that I want to do, but I don't have the time to do, or the willing to do.
Same. It's like I cannot. I mean, I don't have time for that, but I can listen to someone talk about it.
Yes. For example, I am listening to the minimalists. And I'm like, oh, that would be so cool if I could just get away and drop all my things. But now then it finishes and it's like, no, I'm really bonded with this napkin.
It's like, did you see the Marie Kondo Netflix show? Like after every episode, it's like, it's true. But then like you see your house, I'm like, yes, no, everything brings me joy.
Yes.
Like maybe a little bit of, maybe not that much joy, but I'm not going to throw anything.
Yes, I'm not ready to say goodbye to this.
Exactly. Any particular? So you're listening to the Minimalists in?
Yes.
Okay. And anything else? You're doing. You said you're doing exercise. What exercise are you doing?
Yes. Well, a friend of mine is taking a course of. Yes, I'm doing that 3 times a week. For becoming a trainer. So it started just as a thing of, hey guys, do you want to try? Like I need to train people in order to get my trainer course and whatever. And I was like, well, I can do it. Instead of walking around my house.
I love your kombucha girl moment, just like,
and that started like a month and a half ago. And we keep going. Like I call her Pinche Pam because really, like, she is killing us every single session. But we are all starting to feel the effects of doing exercise 3 times a week because, well, of course, we're getting stronger, not fitter, but at least we're stuck in the middle because we can eat a lot and then burn it.
It's this thing like, why am I not losing weight? Well, you have a donut and you're like, why am I not losing weight? I'm doing so much exercise. Yes. That's great. Well, thank you so much for this, Anton. I'm going to put where can the people follow you, by the way?
Yes, well, my main contact is in Instagram, como Anton Chingona.
Which is going to be again on the show notes. And
yes,
and if you're on YouTube,
thank you very much.
You're on YouTube, we are actually on screen, and I'm going to put it somewhere around. And well, I thank you so much for inviting me to be part of Virgin Comedy Cup. It's always personally, I just love anything that gets more people involved in comedy, especially in Mexico, because the comedy scene, even though it feels so big here in Mexico City, like the fact that you're, like you say, it's people from Aguascalientes and Oaxaca. It's just like it's amazing to have like all of these different points of view, and again, judging people is one of my favorite things to do. So I'm really grateful whenever I get to do that. So again, thank you so much for being here. And
thank you for inviting me, but especially for always being that person which I can rely on new plans and also bringing all your positive attitude. I love it. I think, well, I'm very happy for you to be our judge because I know for a fact that the comedians are going to take a lot out of your opinion and that you're a great teacher and you need to be developing the next comedy scene in Mexico. So you definitely had to be there, and thank you very much for accepting.
So we're gonna cut right now because I'm gonna cry. That's what's happening. No, thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon.
Yes, Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure.
So that was the interview with Anton. If you are interested in seeing the episodes for Virgin Comedy Cup, they're in Spanish. You can find them in Por la Moral's Facebook page. The final is going to be this Thursday, July 16th. You can watch that live on Por la Moral's Facebook page. And again, you can follow Anton on Instagram at Anton Chingona. You can follow me at Mintonero. Twitter and Instagram, Martin Leon Stand Up on Facebook. You can also find my Patreon at Mintonero. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. And if you have time, please rate and review this podcast wherever you listen to it. And yeah, I appreciate all of your comments to improve this. Have a nice, however long it takes me for the next one. Hopefully it'll be the 2 weeks that I am saying it's going to be between this episode and the last episode. And the next episode. My God, Jose Martin. Okay. Love y'all. Goodbye.